Okay, I'm here in the office of Congressman Jim Moran of Virginia, and Jim is a member of the Defense Subcommittee of the Appropriations Committee. And talk about power of the purse, this is the first stop in any request the President might have of the Congress to keep this war going. So, Jim, thanks for talking to us.
Oh, it's always good to be with you, Tom.
Jim, first of all, what is your district? Where is it?
I represent Northern Virginia, which is just across the Potomac River from Washington, D.C. A lot of federal employees, of course, more defense contractors now than federal employees, given what's happened over the last 5 years. But it's Alexandria, Arlington, Fairfax County, Falls Church, those communities.
So we should visit and spend lots of money.
Yeah,
okay.
Good restaurants.
Yeah.
High quality life.
Why do you feel so strongly, Jim, about the war in Iraq?
As you know, Tom, I opposed this from the very beginning. I felt that the American people were deceived. The reasons given for going into it were not accurate. The fact is that Saddam Hussein had absolutely nothing to do with 9/11. Al-Qaeda was not present in Iraq. There was no terrorism that was being exported from Iraq. And we had no reliable evidence that Iraq had any weapons of mass destruction. So I resented the fact that the White House was deceiving people into believing that Saddam Hussein was in some way a threat to the United States. Saddam Hussein was no threat to the United States. He was secular. He was an enemy of Al-Qaeda. He was a bad guy. But I don't believe that the enemies of our enemies are our friends. But neither do I believe that every Muslim leader should be considered in any kind of alliance with extremists. This guy was a bad guy to his own people. But he was not a threat to the United States, and I felt all along that what we should have done is to continue to sanction him, enable the Iraqi people to revolt against him. And if we had backed up the Kurds and the Shia back in the early 80s, that may have happened. But to go into a war that we were not prepared to fight, that we had very little understanding of the society and the culture, was an absolute disaster. And then, of course, the people that he assigned to Iraq were the people who were wholly inexperienced, unprepared to offer much in the way of Iraq reconstruction. They were political appointees. They were screened on the basis of their position on Roe v. Wade instead of any kind of knowledge about third world development, and it opened the place up not just for sectarian warfare, but for unbelievable levels of war profiteering on the part of our defense contractors.
Well, Jim, I don't think there's anyone in the country who thinks that George Bush is going to change his mind about Iraq, which means that the Congress is the only recourse we have to stop this war. The Congress has the power of the purse, and your committee is the first step in the process of deciding should we be spending more money. As a member of that committee, a key member of that committee, how are you looking at what the committee is going to do? What is your strategy? What's the committee's strategy?
Well, thanks for asking, Tom. We've been a little frustrated because many of us would like to have been able to act yesterday instead of having to wait till tomorrow, which in effect is mid-March, because we haven't gotten the Iraq supplemental spending request as yet. We have to wait until the money is requested, and then we've been having hearings and we'll report out a bill. But that bill is not going to be what the President of the United States wants. That bill is going to be very limiting in terms of what he can do in Iraq particularly. Our intent is to use the congressional power of the purse to say that you cannot send troops over to Iraq that are not fully prepared and equipped. Right now we are sending the lowest level of preparation and equipment training over to Iraq to meet our goals, and that's just not fair to the troops, and it's not an effective way to fight a war. So we would require that the troops that go over be what they call C1 or 2 instead of C3 and 4. Well, that's going to make it very difficult to find enough troops to meet this surge requirement, which is not even 21,500, but it's close to 48,000 troops in terms of support personnel. So in addition to requiring that the troops be prepared, we are also going to protect our Guard and Reserve troops by saying that it is unfair to be requiring these people to spend more than 12 months in battlefield conditions. That would be approximately 2 deployments, and we think that the National Guard should be limited to no more than 2 deployments, and probably apply to the Reserve as well. That again is going to extremely limit the President's ability to do what he wants in Iraq, but it is accomplishing that objective by also supporting and protecting our troops.
Jim, one last question. What is the single most important message that members of Congress should be hearing from their constituents at home?
I think that those who feel strongly about the war still need to make it clear how strongly they feel. But they also need to emphasize we want this done quickly but done right in a sustainable way. For example, you can't withdraw everybody immediately because logistically it's impossible. You would wind up leaving all your equipment, your weapons, your ammunition, etc., back so that it could be used by both sides to kill even more people in a civil war context. So we need to withdraw responsibly. I think we should start the withdrawal now, but given the fact that the President wants to expand the troops instead of withdrawing, I think we're going to have to wait until the Congress deals with this Iraq supplemental. And in that, we will very much limit what he's able to do and make it clear to the President and to everyone else that this war is going to end. There's not going to be any more support for expanding it or even sustaining it. The troops are going to have to move back over the horizon, and so that you can conduct bombing missions against terrorist cells if the Iraqi government requests it. But we have accomplished our mission. What little authorization there was to depose Saddam Hussein and to eliminate weapons of mass destruction. Saddam Hussein is dead. There never were any weapons of mass destruction. Mission accomplished, and our troops need to start withdrawing as soon and as safely as we can possibly achieve. Well, excuse me, I'm not articulating that. Our objective is to see that American troops withdraw as soon and as safely as possible. And that objective needs to be accomplished through the appropriations process, and I'm sure that it will within the next couple months.